Hey everyone, it's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today is going to be a different kind of video. We're going to talk about an announcement that happened with SteelSeries and Sonar and console playing, because in the last 24 hours, SteelSeries announced using Sonar EQ profiles for console. This has been a hotly contested, or I guess discussed topic since launch, because Sonar is such an incredibly powerful tool for PC. Naturally, console gamers want to leverage any advantage they can and essentially use what they're paying for. You know, these headsets are pretty expensive. Sonar works very differently than what I think a lot of people understand, because it's a virtual audio driver. It's not like a physical EQ chip on the headset. It's an app in Windows modifying sound, not the, DAC itself, the thing that's connecting to your headset. So I want to clarify a few things. We're going to talk about what this means, and then in the second half of the video, we're going to get a lot more technical so you can really understand how this works and what the difference is between Sonar and parametric EQ versus the DAC tune, which is a graphic EQ. So the big announcement, looking over at the webpage that they released, again, this is all in the last 24 hours. So they said, "You've asked, we've listened. A GG update brings Sonar preset functionality to the Arctis Nova Pro wireless and wired on console." A lot of people are going to see Sonar and console and get super excited. These are EQ presets that now get assigned to your DAC. It's not full Sonar. So all of the extra crazy stuff like choosing the exact frequency you're adjusting or modifying your microphone EQ, side tone filtering, or microphone noise gating, all of that stuff is still on the Windows Sonar only. This is to get game presets. So let's look a little bit further just in case. It says Sonar is your go-to software. So whether you want to hear footsteps or item enemies are using, it wasn't possible on PlayStation and Xbox until now. So it's kind of, I don't want this to be a misleading thing. That's why I wanted to make a video. So they announced the games, the presets that they added, and we're going to look at that in SteelSeries GG. Now the first four are ones that have already been there, and then you had custom on top of it. Now they have all these games, including Baldur's Gate 3 and these others for Call of Duty. I think you're going to see Starfield soon, because they just announced a Starfield preset for Sonar. So we'll see if that makes it in a future update. The good news is it seems like they can write additional presets to the DAC. So now it's showing you how to do it. You basically need to update SteelSeries GG to the latest version, which is version 47 or newer. And then we're going to go into customize. So let's do that now. Now we're looking at the EQ settings for the Nova Pro. This is the wired version, because I have the output of this hooked up to my measurement hardware and software. That way I can actually analyze what the EQ changes are doing. However, before, like I said, if we look at the preset dropdown, you used to only get flat, bass boost, focus, and smiley, but now you have all of these games, which is awesome because it really simplifies things for setup. Otherwise, in the past, you'd have to basically use one of the default presets, which were okay, but nothing really specific towards certain styles of games or FPS. And now you have all of these, so it really makes it easier for the consumer. You still have custom at the very bottom to dial it in. This is kind of a spoiler of what's to come. So I can choose these. Now I did choose these and measured them because I wanted to see the results. While I have everyone, before people tune off for the more technical part of this video, I want to point out that SteelSeries sells the DAC separately now. So if you want to, I tried reaching for it, but it's still plugged in. If you want to buy this DAC for console, it's $130. I'll have a link in the description below. You can technically use any wired gaming headset for console. So you don't necessarily have to buy the Nova Pro wired, which is a great headset. However, if you already have a wired headset, let's say you have the EPOS H6 Pro that was recently discontinued, or the new Corsair headset that just came out, but you want to leverage custom EQ on the fly for console, SteelSeries is making this work on the DAC itself. So you can buy the $130 DAC, PlayStation or Xbox version, and be good to go to leverage these presets. So that is the update in a nutshell. It is not full Sonar. It is just extra game EQs to make it easier. You could always have done this separately later to customize it. They're just making it more simple. Now, to take things one step further and more technical, I want to explain the differences of the graphic EQ presets versus the Sonar version, because Sonar lets you use parametric EQ. It's much more powerful, and that's why right now it still only works on PC. It's a virtual audio driver that happens when you install Sonar. On the graphic EQ preset, here we have Warzone 2. This is the translated version from the original preset that was made in Sonar. So we're going to show you the Sonar preset as well to see how it compares, and we're going to measure it. So this is what the game DAC version setting looks like. So if I hit save, I'm going to go to my measurement software and show you what the result of that is. Now this white line indicates the DAC being set to flat. This is how the DAC measures with no EQ changes. Now, if I measure the result of that EQ profile you just saw, this is the modified output of the DAC that's going to your headset. Now, your headset might be very strong in the bass, so not every headset's going to sound identical. This is just changing the output to better mimic what they think the game should sound like. So if we look at the Sonar version of the same EQ setting, we're going to see something very different. So why don't I just enable that now? And the blue line is what the Sonar version of the Warzone 2 preset looks like. The pink line is the DAC version. So you're not getting the exact same sound results. That's because on Sonar, you can dial in exactly what frequency you want to adjust. And on the DAC, you're stuck with the fixed 10 bands. For example, 1000 hertz versus 1200 hertz. So let's look at Sonar real quick. Now, if we go to the Sonar version of the EQ, they're actually using a high pass filter. And this is part of the power of parametric EQ, because it's not just a notch where I'm taking an area down. It basically gets rid of all of the sub bass entirely. And you can see here that they're targeting 700 hertz and 1200 hertz, where because of the DAC setup and the way it works, they can't choose 700. It's 500 or 1000 or 2000. So you get the idea. I'm not trying to discredit the work that they've done, because this is still so much better than other options that have been on the market, especially in this price range, to have a DAC with that much customization. Now, to further explain how parametric EQ works, now we are in the third layer of technical stuff here. So I'm going to show you a custom EQ. Now this, going back to my original Q of 0.707, you could see how this is a wider lift, and it means I'm gradually boosting frequencies around it with a primary focus on the 1K region as my center point. So if I measure that, we're going to turn all of this stuff off right now. This is on parametric EQ, which looks very similar to Sonar. So good job, SteelSeries, for actually representing what you're doing in an accurate way. If I go back to Sonar and I change my Q to 1.5, this is a key number, 1.5 at 1K, you can see the notch gets more narrow. So if I go back to my measurement software and I pull up 1.5K, you can again see the notch is more narrow. Now, I happen to know from doing this for a long time that graphic EQs, especially in all this game stuff that we're looking at, the default Q is 1.5. That's what you're fixed at. So I measured the DAC with a lift at 1.5 Q. Or sorry, I guess 1 kilohertz at 8 decibels. The exact same thing as what I'm trying to mimic in Sonar, and you can see it measures the same. So you can completely clone a Sonar tune if the Sonar frequencies are lined up with these graphic equalizer frequencies, the 31, the 62, etc. Your Q has to be 1.5 to be a perfect match. Otherwise, you're narrowly addressing it or more widely addressing it. I hope I'm not making this too confusing, but I also just want to show you one last thing here. So I'm going to set not a high pass. We're going to go back to peaking EQ and set this to 5. So now you can see the notch is more narrow. So let's go back into my measurement software and we're going to show that 5 notch, and you can see how aggressive it is. So as you can see, all of these are targeting 1 kilohertz, but with parametric EQ, I can choose how wide or narrow. And on the graphic EQ, I'm basically matching 1.5 with the software. All right, so that wraps up the video. Now, I didn't want this video to be too confusing or technical. I know we kind of went down a deeper rabbit hole with the whole parametric EQ thing. I wanted this video to help squish any confusion about SteelSeries Sonar tuning versus the SteelSeries EQ presets for console. It's great that they're adding this. It gives more power to an already great product lineup, because the Nova Pro and Nova Pro Wireless have been great picks for over a year now since they launched. This is just a free update that makes it better. Then icing on the cake, if you just want to buy the DAC for 130 because you have your own wired headset or headphone that you like, now they're giving you EQ presets to just simplify the tuning process. Maybe you go from a racing game to FPS to Starfield and you just want very quick adjustments without manually dialing it in all the time. So I love that they added this. It's just not the exact Sonar translation that I think some people may have been expecting based off a quick read of the announcement. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you found it helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.